We've taken all of the feedback you've given us over the past few iterations and made some significant changes to the MARTA model simulator. Today we'll be demoing those changes, beginning from starting the application and ending with loading a large data set from the database. The first thing an analyst would do is double-click on the MARTA model simulator, which will load all of the packages and run and start the simulation. Then it will launch this web page. The analyst would then go into the model page where they would be doing all of the model maintenance that they are running through the simulation. They have three options for loading the model. They have database model, text model, and blank model. And then they have vehicles, routes, and stops for actually managing the objects within the model once it's loaded. For today's purposes, we'll be demoing the text model option. So we will be using a pre-prepared model. You also have the ability to set what time you would like the simulation to begin at. We're going to leave it at the default. So we click OK, and right away we can see that the trains and buses are already pre-populated. We do have the option of adding additional trains and buses or modifying the ones existing within the simulation. Here we can go, and then we can see also that we have routes already loaded. We've got 3 routes. These are also fully editable, and we can also add new ones as well. Stops as well are fully editable and are able to be added new ones or deleted, etc. So with that, we would then go and we can see the simulate page. This is very reminiscent of the display system or display system output from the command line as before. You have your vehicles and your stops broken out, where you can see the number of passengers on each vehicle, the capacity, the speed, what route it's on, what the next stop is, and at what time it will be arriving next. And the stop's the same. You can see the name of the stop, the rating. You can see where it is on the map, the routes, and the schedule. We also here have the actual buttons to progress the simulation. So step multiple is very reminiscent of step multiple from the command line, where you put in a number and then it will run through that many iterations of the simulation. Step once as well is a close facsimile to the command line. If you click it, it will run through the iteration once. And then time multiple is used to step the simulation through time. So if you've set up a schedule, you have to step through time in order for things to start populating, as everything is given a time to happen. So for that, we'll go ahead and we'll actually click step multiple, and with that, right away we can see that we have updated the next stops for whichever buses have moved. We've updated what time they'll be arriving at that stop, and we've also seen that they've picked up some riders. And what we can see here is they have something here called rider groups. What this has done is this has allowed us to model not individual riders, but groups of riders who are traveling to the same stop or to similar stops. And so it allows us to scale a lot more. We can also see that we've also picked up a lot of waiting riders at specific stops down here as well. And we can see what routes each one of these stops is on. So we'll go ahead and we'll step once as well, and we can see that some of these things have updated. Another cool feature that we have is this Explore Routes. What this is a map of Atlanta, and it lets you actually click on these routes, and you can see what these routes look like and what your routes are compared to the map of Atlanta. So if you wanted to add a new one and put it somewhere close and see how it fits in, you could do that, and you can visualize it here. The last feature that we wanted to go over for this simulation is our visualize model feature. What this does is it will take take the current state of the simulation, and it will map it out for you here on the UI on the front end. Another cool feature for those that liked the console as before, you can click on console and you can actually see fully what's happening as you click and as you move through and do all of your work here within the UI. So the last thing that we wanted to go over today is loading a large data set from the database. So what this will do is this will clear your current model and any configuration, any changes you had, and it will then go and pull a predefined large data set from the UI or from the database and allow you to uh, step through and simulate that. Um, so this takes a minute or two. Okay, here we can see that we now have many more trains as well as a number of buses and routes as well have all been added in here. There's many. So we would then go to the simulate page. Here we will also see all of those objects populating. We can see that the capacities and the speeds are the same for trains, and then buses are varying speeds based on traffic and things of that nature. So then we'll go ahead and we'll click time multiple, and we'll see this step through and start adding passengers to the trains and to the buses. And again, you can see everything that's happening on the back end and the same things that were happening on the command line here through console. So here we can see that we picked up some riders on the trains and on the buses. We've updated the stop location and the simulation clock. So within Explorer, we'll be able to see a lot more routes and stops that we didn't have before. And these are, real-world MARTA bus routes. And then finally, we have the visualize option. And what this will do is it will take the model that you had there already, that you loaded, and it will generate that on your screen for you as well, just like with the text model.